Welcome to the tutorials. Today we'll learn about CSS margin collapse. Let's get started. Margin collapse is when we have two vertical margins collapse into one single margin without adding up. That happens in three specific cases, and we're going to check them through this demonstration. For the demonstration, we have four random paragraphs. The second and third paragraphs are inside the div with a class of container. Let's head to VS Code. And we're going to start the first case, which is margin collapse for two siblings. And we're going to use the second and third paragraphs. So 2. And we're going to give it margin bottom. Let's say 40 pixels. And for the third paragraph, we're going to give it margin top of 50 pixels. Now, intuitively speaking, you might think that we're going to have a 90 pixels margin, which is not the case. In this situation, our margin is 50, which is the highest among the two. That's how margin collapse works. Just picks the higher margin. So right here between the second and third, we have 50 pixels instead of 90 pixels. For the second case, it's between a parent and a child. We're going to use the second paragraph with the parent. So container. And we're going to give it margin top of 40 pixels. Let's say 5 pixels. And for the second paragraph, which is the first child of the parent, we're going to give it margin top of 100 pixels. Now, let's check the browser. Here you might think this is 105 pixels, but it's not, it's 100 pixels. And intuitively, you might think that the margin top of the parent would work, but instead it's the margin top of the first child. Same thing for the last child. We're gonna give the container margin bottom of 20 pixels. And we're gonna give the third paragraph, which is the last child in the container, margin bottom of 50 pixels. Now let's check the browser. And here between the third and fourth, instead of using the parent margin bottom, it's using the margin bottom of the last child, which is the third paragraph, and this is 50 pixels. The third case we have is for an empty element. So let's create an empty element between the second and third paragraphs. Let's give it a class of empty. And let's get back the CSS style sheet and let's empty. Now let's make the margin top 100 pixels, margin bottom 200 pixels. Now let's get back to the browser. And here we don't have 300 pixels margin, we have only 200 pixels margin. These are all the cases where CSS margin collapses. Now, if you want to prevent CSS collapse, we have a few options. First option is to add padding or border. You can add even 1 pixel, it will prevent the collapse. Second, we can use overflow with a hidden auto or scroll, just not the default. Third, you can make your containers display flex or grid. Fourth, you can give the container an absolute positioning. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and see you next time.